Have you ever felt the world shift under your feet? The solid ground turning to quicksand in a single gut-wrenching moment? That's what it felt like standing in my own kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my sister, Sarah, ask if I'd seen her sister. My wife. The same wife who had texted me just an hour ago, saying she was having a girls' night at Sarah's place. My heart hammered against my ribs. A frantic drumbeat of dread. She was at her sister's, she'd said. So why was her sister calling me, asking where she was? If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The lie was so blatant, so careless, it felt like a physical slap. For 10 years, Emily and I had built a life together in Chicago. We had a cozy 2-bedroom apartment near Lincoln Park, a life filled with inside jokes, shared dreams, and the comfortable rhythm of a long-term partnership. I was an architect, she was a marketing exec. We were that couple, the one our friends pointed to as proof that love could last. Or so I thought. The change had been subtle at first. Late nights at the office became more frequent. Her phone, once left casually on the counter, was now always face down or clutched in her hand. When I'd ask about her day, her answers became vague, peppered with names I didn't recognize. She'd started dressing differently too, more expensive clothes, a new perfume that smelled like sandalwood, and something else, something unfamiliar. I'd brushed it off. We were busy. Life gets complicated. But that phone call from Sarah wasn't complicated. It was a brutal, simple truth. Emily was lying. That night I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, replaying every strange moment from the past few months. The hushed phone calls she'd cut short when I entered the room, sudden obsession with her fitness tracker, justifying long unexplained absences as going for a run, the way she'd flinch if I touched her shoulder unexpectedly. It was all there, a breadcrumb trail I had been too blind or maybe too trusting to follow. She finally came home around 2 a.m., smelling faintly of that new perfume and cheap bar beer. She tiptoed into the bedroom, thinking I was asleep. "Hey, you're up," she whispered, her voice a little too bright. "How was Sarah's?" I asked, my own voice flat, devoid of emotion. "Oh, same old," she breezed. "We just drank wine and complained about work. It was fun." She leaned in to kiss me, but I turned my head. The lie hung in the air between us, thick and suffocating. My descent into paranoia was swift. I became a detective in my own home. I started checking our shared credit card statements. Dinners for two at expensive restaurants on Michigan Avenue I was never invited to. A hotel charge from a boutique spot in the West Loop for a work conference I'd never heard about. One afternoon, while she was in the shower, I did the one thing I swore I'd never do. I checked her phone. It was locked, of course, but a notification popped up on the screen. A text from a name I didn't know. "Mark, last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you." My stomach churned. I felt a cold wave wash over me, the kind that makes your teeth chatter. It was real, all of it. For the next week, I was a ghost in my own life. I went to work. I smiled at colleagues. I came home and asked Emily about her day, all while this toxic knowledge ate away at me from the inside. She grew colder, more distant. The loving woman I had married was replaced by a sharp, defensive stranger. If I questioned where she was, she'd accuse me of being controlling. If I tried to be affectionate, she'd pull away, saying she was tired. She was turning it all around on me, making me feel like the crazy one. One night I broke. After she canceled our anniversary dinner plans for a last-minute work emergency, I confronted her. I told her about the hotel charge, the late nights, the emotional distance. I pleaded with her. "Emily, what's going on? Talk to me. We can fix this." Her reaction was colder than a Chicago winter. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just looked at me with a chilling lack of empathy. "You're imagining things, David," she said, her voice like ice. "Maybe if you weren't so needy and insecure, I'd want to spend more time at home." That was the moment my heart didn't just break. It shattered into a million irreparable pieces. The love I felt for her curdled into something else, something dark and focused. She wasn't just cheating. She was trying to gaslight me into oblivion, to make me believe her betrayal was my fault. She and this Mark thought they were untouchable. They were wrong. My grief morphed into a cold, calculated rage. She wanted to destroy me, fine, but I was going to make sure she lost everything first. The plan began to form in the quiet, lonely hours of the night. It wasn't just about exposing her. It was about dismantling her entire life with surgical precision. The first step was evidence. Undeniable, irrefutable proof. Bought a small audio recorder and a keylogger for our home computer. The recordings captured it all. Whispered phone calls filled with I love yous to him, and cruel, dismissive conversations about me. She called me pathetic, predictable, a ball and chain she couldn't wait to get rid of. The keylogger was even more damning. Captured their emails, their plans, their private jokes. I learned Mark was Mark Renshaw, a senior partner at her firm. He was married too. They were planning a future together, discussing how Emily would leave me and how much she could get in a divorce settlement. They were laughing about it, laughing at my expense. While I gathered my arsenal, I played the part of the beaten, insecure husband she wanted me to be. I apologized for being suspicious. I suggested we go to therapy. It was a performance worthy of an Oscar. She bought every second of it, her arrogance blinding her to the trap being set. With my evidence-secure recordings, emails, photos I'd taken of them meeting for lunch near the Riverwalk, I moved to the legal phase. I hired the most ruthless divorce attorney in Chicago. I didn't tell her I wanted a divorce. I told her I wanted to prepare for the inevitable, showing her a mountain of evidence. Her eyes widened. At Illinois, she explained, infidelity doesn't impact the division of assets. Unless, she paused, a predatory smile spreading across her face. You can prove marital assets were wasted on the affair. The hotel rooms, the expensive dinners, the gifts. I had receipts for all of it. The final piece of the puzzle was social annihilation. Emily's entire social and professional life revolved around her image as a successful, happily married woman. Mark's reputation was everything at his conservative firm. I waited for the perfect moment. The annual company gala, a massive event where Emily was set to receive a major award. Her parents were flying in. Mark's wife would be there. It was the pinnacle of their smug, secret world. The night of the gala, Emily was radiant. She floated around the ballroom, shaking hands, accepting congratulations, a portrait of success. She looked at me once across the room, a flicker of pity in her eyes, as if I were a sad relic of her past. She had no idea. Just as the CEO began his speech to introduce Emily for her award, a video flickered to life on the giant screens behind him. It wasn't the corporate presentation everyone expected. It was a slideshow. The first image was a photo of Emily and me on our wedding day, happy and hopeful. Then, a screenshot of a text. Last night was incredible, from Mark. Then, a photo of Emily and Mark kissing outside a restaurant on Clark Street. Another slide showed hotel receipts. Another, a transcript from an audio recording, Emily's voice, clear as day, laughing about how she was going to take David for everything he's worth. Gasps rippled through the ballroom. I saw Emily's face drain of all color. Her parents stared in horror. Mark's wife, a quiet woman I'd met a few times, just stood up and walked out of the room without a word. The CEO fumbled to stop the presentation, but I had paid the AV tech well. It played to the end. The final slide was a simple, stark email from Mark to Emily. Just leave him already. We'll be happy. The silence in the room was deafening. Emily looked at me, her eyes wide with a mixture of hatred and pure, unadulterated shock. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just held her gaze for a single, long moment, then turned and walked out of the ballroom, leaving her alone in the wreckage of the life she had so carelessly destroyed. The divorce was swift. Faced with the evidence, she didn't fight. She lost her job. She lost her friends. Parents, deeply ashamed, barely spoke to her. Mark's wife filed for divorce the next day, and his firm fired him for violating their code of conduct. They lost everything. I sold the apartment and moved to a small place on the other side of the city. Sometimes, late at night, I think about that final moment at the gala, the look in her eyes. It's not a look of victory I remember. It's the chilling emptiness that followed. The quiet, there is no triumph in a ruin, even if you're the one who caused it to fall. The end.